morning on ITV. It's now time for us to talk aviation. My name is Ikaro Atta. And for sure, those of us who fly and fly a lot, even those of us who fly periodically, somehow it's not that easy when it comes to taking off and landing. And sometimes you just find some sort of to while away time and get disconnected from the flight. You may have your earpiece, your music blasting into the ears, or sometimes I even get to a point where some persons need to put this eye blind in their faces. Look, I don't want to see anything around the aircraft. Just, I know you are taking me. Please land me safely. And I asked someone there on that trip from Johannesburg, precisely Oliver Tambo Airport, down to Sao Paulo. And I just discovered that when we are taking off, I thought it was just a kind of a sleep enhancer here, putting the kind of eye blind to protect you from the lights in the plane. And I just said, you want to put it? Is that not too early to sleep? He said, no, I really don't like seeing plane whenever I'm flying. I just want to just take off and land. So most times I like covering my eyes sometimes. But somehow that will not make you safe. If the safety tips that we have been following here are not followed, you may cover your eye. You can even somehow, safety tips here. When taking off, you see people are trying to recite the Quran, go through their bead, some going through their Bible and booklet from their pastors, and when they are landing, they quickly take some. Or when you go into turbulence and you hold this bang, 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 you start to hear Jesus, 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 somehow. But without safety tips, they say heaven help those who help themselves. My name, again, is Ikaro Atta, and the Aviation Freak is in the house this morning, and we'll be navigating through aviation safety part 4. That is on the screen here, explanation of the man who have been guiding us through with something he loved doing so much. Mr. Godwin, you want to reach him, talk aviation with him is just 002-6822-995. The second one is there on the screen, 003-307-4613. You can see it there. The email is goddy@yahoo.com. Very simple one, not the one you have at yahoo.com.uk or whatever and whatever. No, this one is simple. It can memorize quickly. Website aviationfreak.com. YouTube channel is Aviation Freaks. Aviation Freaks official, and the Twitter handle is @Aviation Freaks. Okay, we have Mr. Godwin. Welcome to our studio again this Monday morning.
Good morning, Atta.
The last day in the month of July.
Yes.
When we come next, we'll be doing it in the month of August.
Yes, wonderful. My dear viewers, please welcome to the program. Atta, today
clip 4.
We are
is it clip 4, clip 5, or part 4, or part 5?
Part 4 of aviation safety. Like I said at the beginning, it's a huge topic, and we'll run with it until we come to the end of it, so that no excuses will be made by anyone in this nation. This is for the love of our nation, Atta.
That's true.
Those who think that, oh, we were ignorant, oh, we didn't know this should have been this way. Now we know. Nothing will be left out. And so we are getting on with aviation safety, part 4.
Okay, part 4, I think we'll launch quickly with clip 1. That will be a guide that will follow through.
That's right.
We have to finish part 3 before. We'll finish the whole clips in part 3.
Well, usually when you terminate, then the next clip becomes part 1 of the next.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Okay, if we can quickly go there, part 4, clip 1, aviation safety hazard, that is fire. That's fire here. Can you tell us more about fire as hazard? Say, we know fire is not something good when it comes to bush burning, house burning, except to cook your food somehow.
You will be amazed. A couple of very fatal accidents, in flight, mid-air, is being as a result of fire outbreak in airplanes. Sometimes due to electrical fault, some insulations of wires, getting bad and breaching, and maybe some liquid, dripping into them. They begin to smolder, and before you know it, very toxic smoke will start, filtering into the cabin.
And the other one
and then even when you don't have ray flame coming out. Toxic fumes can be quite dangerous because it can make both the pilots and the passengers, pass out in the airplane, and the plane becomes a ghost plane, flying itself until it runs out of fuel and then dumps, itself somewhere. Of course, by the time it ends up somewhere, all the occupants of the airplane must have died long before the plane made contact with any object, be it ground, hill, or whatever. And then other times they take on hazardous goods in their luggage compartment. Some computer batteries have been known to be very dangerous. Yes, okay. and can cause fire, okay, if by any reason some metal breach two ends of those batteries. Again, sometimes, like you will see in one of the clips that we're going to be looking at today, without the knowledge of passengers, very dangerous arms making materials can be stuffed into the airplane, sharing cabin with passengers, especially some very specially designed 747 passenger cargo planes, like happened once with South African Airways. We're going to see all those.
Okay, we can go back now to part 4. Let's go back to clip 1. That's clip 1 there.
Right. So fire and its toxic smoke have been the cause of accidents during flights. Materials used for aircraft construction must be tested and shown to pass flammability of materials test and toxicity of smoke. Most aircraft fire are as a result of wiring problems, such as wires with breached insulation touching each other and having water dripping on them, or short circuits. Although difficult to detect while aircraft is on the ground, note that, difficult to detect while aircraft is on ground, methods such as spread spectrum time domain reflectometry,
do we know that?
Known as, I'm going to explain that.
Because as you break it, even the man here may be asking some questions.
Usually known as SSTDR, can help in live wires testing during flight. Don't let the
electrical jargons,
those electrical jargons confuse you or discourage you from learning. This is a system of carrying out tests to detect along wiring lines,
okay,
where you have faults, okay, in electrical connections.
It's sort of like tracing.
That's correct. It has this equipment in question, and the system of the spread spectrum time domain reflectometry, is able to pinpoint along some wiring lines where you have issues, some kind of breaches or insulation failure and stuff like that. Okay. And so with that, you can, with a pinpoint accuracy, get to the point of trouble and eliminate it, even when the...
Okay, before we go to clip 2,
yes.
We may not get that clip now. The one you showed me, I think last week or 2, where the other plane was taking off and had to pick an object from the ground.
Okay.
And that led to fire outbreak, and the man was informed that, hey guy, you got crashes on edge, but the man couldn't land, and the plane crashed.
That was a Concorde airplane in France. Good. That had 100 passengers and other crew. That accident slaughtered a total of 113 people. 4 on the ground and the others in the airplane. What had happened was that another plane landed just before it positioned for takeoff. Unfortunately, that plane that landed dropped a debris on the runway, and of course a runway sweeper didn't run through the runway to get possible debris out of the way. And then that Concorde that was ferrying some holiday makers to where they would, somewhere in the U.S. where they would board a cruise ship. They were actually going out for cruising. They were holiday makers, going to spend their money and have fun. And then the aircraft on heading out for its takeoff picked up the debris, which tore one of the tires, and the explosion of the tire ruptured one of the wings. And of course, fuel tanks are usually built on the wings of the air. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
Yeah, you've told me that.
Yes, fuel tanks are built on both wings of the aircraft in different compartments. And so you ruptured one of the compartments, and aviation fuel, highly inflammable. It's more inflammable than the ordinary PMS, the petrol we use for driving our cars. All right, and so the jet engines spit a lot of fire as they're blasting away, and so the aviation fuel got ignited. Now, at the point that those in control tower noticed that fire was trailing that aircraft and informed the pilot, he had achieved his V1 speed, and it was too late to abort the flight.
That's true.
So he had to take to the air with the hope of landing in the nearby. He was actually heading to Le Bourget Airport, which is another airport in Paris, not far away from the Charles de Gaulle, where that plane was taken off from. That was what happened, but he couldn't make it. It was too late. The fire had destroyed the engines, destroyed all the control systems of the aircraft, the hydraulic system. Everything just went shut down.
Okay, let's move over now. If you're joining us, the program is Aviation Safety. We are today looking at the part 4 of it. But let's quickly run to our clip 2 now. Clip 2 of our part 4.
That's correct. And we're continuing with fire.
Okay.
Some fire incidents recorded in aviation history include A, Air Canada Flight 797 in 1983. On June 2, 1983, Air Canada Flight 797, it was a McDonnell Douglas DC-932. That was the model of the aircraft at the time. As a matter of fact, the photographs you're looking at, those are the aircraft before it went for on the left, it went for the journey, and on the right, showing you what fire did to it, mid-frame, as you can see on the photograph on the right. So let's read on. A scheduled trans-border flight from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to Montreal-Duval International Airport, Canada, caught fire mid-air. The in-flight fire, which started behind the washroom, spread between the outer skin and inner decor panels, filling the plane with toxic smoke. The plane managed to make an emergency landing at Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International Airport. On opening this is one point I want you to take note of, because we need to learn a lot from this. On opening the exit doors, the rushing air and oxygen caused a flashover, and I'm going to explain that to you.
Okay.
Killing 23 passengers. Look at the situation. Fire erupted mid-air. It didn't kill anyone. I mean, they noticed toxic smoke, filling up the cabin, and the pilot, who was actually heading to Canada and could have been flying north, because for you to head to Canada from the east coast of America, it should be flying north, on the coastline, So when they noticed that, the pilot made an emergency landing in the nearest airport ahead of him, which was in Kentucky. All right, and landed safely. Everybody was alive. Everybody was as safe as could be. Feeling so, but then a mistake was made. Mistake that was born out of ignorance, because the aviation world learned a lesson from that. What's called flashover is, I'll give you a domestic example. Anytime you perceive cooking gas filling up your house, assuming you walked into your house with your family late in the night, maybe you went to eat out, or paid a family visit somewhere, and all lights shut, and then you open your door and you perceive strong fumes of cooking gas. You must not, and those listening to me, you must not put on any switch in the bid to light up the place and see where you're going in the house. You must not switch on anything. Because if you do, behind those switches, each time we put on switch and put sparks that you do not see that's true. Behind them. Flashover simply means fire simultaneously burning through a space at the same time. And that's what you find, that's what kills people in domestic accidents. When they perceive gas, rather than open up the windows and doors, they want to see. As soon as you put on that switch, that's a flashover, pump, and everything inside is incinerated. That is burnt in 1 second. So the lesson learned in this case of Canada Air is that if you have such fire burning and you have safely touched down, before you open that door, all emergency firefighters must
be around the plane,
must be surrounding the plane from all sides, so that as soon as you open the door, they pump in their first either water or chemical or whatever liquid material they need to put out the fire. It must follow, because what happens is that you open the door, air and oxygen will go in and form fuel for the fire that is smoldering, and so you have a flashover. And flashover simply means if it was fire that was confined to the tail of the aircraft, for instance, and passengers had moved forward to stay away from the heat, as soon as that oxygen comes in, the fire in 1 second sweeps from that tail section where it was confined all through the aircraft in 1 second. And then, of course, bailing out from the aircraft is a struggle, especially a fueled aircraft. If passengers don't take their time and turn to move one after the other, they can clog up the exit and everybody is held up.
Even the walkway, you can clog it up.
Yes, even the walkway, the eye can be clogged up. So clip 3, a big lesson to be learned here, and I hope somebody somewhere is listening. It's not enough that you've landed safely. Those passengers landed safely, but 23 lost their lives because of the flashover.
Okay, let's go now quickly. Clip 3. Okay, still on fire hazard.
Here we go. Still on fire hazard. B, British Air Tours flight 28M. This was an international flight originating from Manchester International Airport's runway 24 in Manchester, England on 22nd August 1985. It was en route to Corfu International Airport on the Greek island of Corfu. The Boeing 737-236, registered as BGJL, had its takeoff from Manchester Airport aborted due to engine failure. Named River Orient, the plane's failed engines generated a fire and plumed black smoke which killed 53 out of 131 passengers on board. 2 members of the cabin crew also lost their lives. If you take a look at the photograph attached to this write-up, you see the burnt out plane, both sides. You see the slide through which passengers, bailed out from the aircraft while it was on the ground. But I tell you, there was a clog up on the aisle of that aircraft, and a lot of people inhaled toxic smoke and lost their breath, passed out, and couldn't leave the aircraft. And that's why you had 53 fatalities out of the 131 passengers. Well, a lot of people were able to bail out and then went with their lives. Well, if we move on to clip 4, because time is usually not our friend on this program. God will help us one of these days to extend the time. Right, the same fire continues.
Okay.
C. I will just giving examples of different fire incidents and learning the lessons therein. Now, South African Airways Flight 295. That was one I made reference to during the introductory session. This was a Boeing 747-244B Combi. The Combi model of the 747 was built to share passengers along with goods.
Okay.
So it's a combined stuff, and I don't really like it. If I were to fly to anywhere and I meet one of those, I'll abort my flight and take another one. It's then registered as ZS-SAS, named Heidelberg. It was a commercial flight from Taiwan to South Africa with a planned stopover in Mauritius. Mauritius is one of those islands in south from China. Okay. Yeah, yes, Mauritius is somewhere around there, just before you get towards South Africa. It will amaze you, Atta. It will amaze you that South Africa is almost face to face with Australia on two ends of the world. Yes. So a catastrophic in-flight fire in the cargo area brought the plane down over the Indian Ocean, east of the island of Mauritius, on the 28th November 1987. All 159 passengers and crew on board lost their lives. Now, a little story about that particular flight. A lot of speculations, quite sensitive. I'm not going to be able to tell my my viewers all the stories emerging, but it was at the time that South Africa was under sanction by virtually the entire world during the apartheid period, and they couldn't buy arms, officially and legally. So it was speculated that they were engaged in smuggling of materials for arms making and stuff. So the reports had it, although a body of investigators, set up, didn't prove those allegations, but it was alleged that the airplane was loaded with some inflammable materials, which got jolted in the process of the flight and then reacted and so ignited in the cargo section that the passengers were sharing, in the aircraft. And then, of course, fire erupted. They did everything they could. The fire was so huge that they couldn't subdue it. Along the line, the plane broke into two because fire had melted part of the aircraft, and it broke into two, fell into the Indian Ocean, and disappeared with 159 passengers. Very sad occasion. Yeah, very sad.
Okay, let's go to clip. I think clip 4, clip 5.
Clip 5, please.
Okay, let's clip 5.
Yes, the best strike. This was something we did very exhaustively in this, in the past couple of weeks. If you remember,
very clearly.
We did, exhaustive discussion on best strike, but it's one of those hazards. That's why it's mentioned here. So we'll run through it very quickly.
Okay.
This describes a collision between a bird and an aircraft. Best strikes have potentials to cause both engine failure and fatal accidents. We have dealt with this topic comprehensively in our previous episodes. Viewers are therefore urged to visit our YouTube channel, Aviation Freaks Official, to watch all the episodes of Best Strike. Our blog, www.aviationfreaks.com. You will find everything you need to know about bird strike
But
there.
in terms of bird strikes, someone told me that it oftentimes affects planes that fly very low and not so high.
Very well. Yeah, that's more often than not. But then, if you remember what I taught you during the bird strike episodes in the past couple of weeks, some eagles are known to have attained a height of almost 35,000 feet above sea level, and collided with aircraft at that height. But more often than not, this happens at low level during your approach to either landing or takeoff around the airport zones, because birds are usually attracted to airport environment because they find food in the area, all kinds of snacks and stuff dumped here and there, especially in airports that are not well taken care of. The likelihood is that birds will visit you because they are coming to look for food, and then in the process they cross the path of either landing.
And even some airport that have enough palms around, you have these weevil birds that lives around palms, have the eyes around palms, and they fly in very large numbers.
Very correct. So and the momentum at which they make contact with airplanes so huge.
Even cars sometimes, when you drive in.
That's correct.
Even with cars.
Yeah, that's why we've got to be serious, dead serious, and serious as a people in managing this for jokers.
Okay, clip 6 quickly, very quickly. Clip 6. Okay, that's it there. Human factor.
Human factors. Human factors, these include pilot error and other human activities such as improper communication ability of flight crew to maintain situation awareness, and failure of pilots to properly monitor the flight instruments, control flight into terrain, usually fondly known as CFIT, and error during takeoff and landing can have catastrophic consequences. Some aviation incidents attributed to human errors include the Pacific Southwest Airlines Flight 182. That one had a TCAS problem, and then I'll explain all those. And Tenerife disaster, very sad one. The Tenerife one, I hope we'll be able to get there quickly. Let's get to clip 7, please. Clip 7, so that
it's 10.
Yeah. We're there?
Yeah, they already.
Very well.
That's a Pacific Southwest Airline Flight 182 crash.
That's correct. So this was a commercial airliner registered as N533PS that collided with a private Cessna 172 light aircraft registered as N7711G over San Diego, California, USA, at 9:01 a.m. Monday, 25th of September, 1978. The long chain of events that led to the unfortunate and unnecessary collision clearly pointed to human error. The pilots of both planes took wrong decisions at one point or another. While the commercial jet pilots failed to inform the traffic controllers they were no more seeing the Cessna, which was previously in view, the Cessna pilots, without permission, changed course from 070 degree to 090, which was heading pure east, leading to conflict in the air with the commercial jet. What happened here was a very, very, very sad one. Very sad one. The Pacific, fondly known as PSA, the Pacific Southwest Airline, was approaching, and they were using visual means, not the instrument means. And this trainer Cessna was somewhere around, and the control tower asked the pilot whether he was seeing that Cessna, and he said yes, that they had it in view. Now the Cessna was asked to maintain a 070, which is a kind of northwest direction, which would have kept it away from the path of the incoming jet for landing. And then shortly after, the Cessna disappeared. Now the two pilots in the incoming jet knew that they weren't seeing the Cessna anymore. The pro guy in control tower believed that, having confirmed initially that they had it in view, that all was well. And so he let them be, knowing that, one had been asked, keep a 070, heading. And the other one had been asked, are you seeing that Cessna? And they said yes. Now, suddenly, the Cessna disappeared from their sight, and they didn't inform the control tower, who would have used their instrument to find out the location of the Cessna and quickly separate them by informing one or the other to change direction. And then again, the Cessna, who, if he had maintained this 070, would have been far away from the landing aircraft, suddenly changed his direction to 090, thereby putting himself on the path of the landing aircraft. And the next thing you saw was bam! Both of them hauled themselves out of the skies. It's very sad. We're going to have an opportunity of seeing a demo of how that accident took place if we find time for that, and then also be able to see what happened in the. But let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. Our time is almost up now. Quickly, we'll stop at clip 8.
Clip 8. Yeah, here we go. The Tenerife, another sad one as a result of human error. Total of 583 passengers and crew lost their lives on March 583 That's
excessively high.
Yes. On March 27, 1977, when KLM flight 4805 and Pan Am flight 1736 collided right on the runway of Los Roads Airport, now known as Tenerife North Airport, in Tenerife, Canary Islands, Spain. Human error involving communication breakdown between KLM pilots and control tower caused the accident. Also, lack of ground radar contributed, as the control tower had no means of seeing the location of both aircraft on the runway due to bad weather. What had happened very quickly was that the two aircraft were heading to another nearby airport where a bomb blast had taken place. And so the airport was, suddenly shut down, and all planes were routed to Los Roads. And it was a small airport with very small facility, not meant for receiving international flights. And then a lot of those airplanes that were heading to that island were massed there. And then after things had been taken care of at their ultimate destination, they began to take their turns to take off. But then again, only one runway was available, both for taxiing and doing a takeoff. Suddenly, weather, as treacherous as weather can be, got so bad that you couldn't even see beyond 50 meters. And so, the KLM flight, the pilot was really very crazy. He positioned for takeoff and kept urging the control tower to let him go. And then he was told to hold on, that they wanted to be sure that the Pan Am Air had left the runway from the opposite direction. Some communication gap of when the man asked a question and the control tower used inappropriate language of okay, because those are not used in control towers these days. He used an inappropriate language of okay, and the pilot, who was not an English-speaking person, took his okay to mean that he had been allowed to. His co-pilot informed him that, no, we haven't been cleared for this takeoff. He said, no, we must go now. He said, okay. And then he put his power. And then he rammed into filled up aircraft with his own field and with refueling that had taken place. It was a nitrogen bomb.
Oh, okay, thank you. I think we're going to stop here for today.
Let's just see photographs. We're not reading anything.
Okay.
Clip 9 will show us photographs in 1 second, and then can you see that photograph on the, that was the end of that PSA that we read about, how it ended. That's a live photograph, how it crashed into a building, and then of course the two photographs on the lower part, or the KLM and the Pan Am, that ended up. Unfortunately, time will not let us show our viewers the animation of how these things happen, because I brought them all.
We'll do that. We'll start with that. We'll start from that point by next week, Monday, God's willing. We'll start from that point. Thanks a lot for coming. And we hope that you, viewers here, can follow through. Your safety on air is something that you just like those of us who actually got this aviation phobia here. Someone said, look, I don't like flying because if it's my car, I can pull over, I can stop by the roadside when I see anything in front, but when it comes to and wait for a while. But somewhat, Mr. Godike will tell you that the airplane is a faithful machine.
Very
faithful machine.
Very faithful.
If not for human error or whatever, the plane is a very, very faithful machine.
That's
thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks.
And wish you all the best.
Okay. Thank you
Monday morning next week, the first Monday in the month of August, we'll be doing it same time. That's 8 a.m. here, taking us through some 30 minutes or so, talking aviation and talking aviation safety, and ensuring that those of you who fly understand when you are flying, there is much to your flying that meets the eye. Beyond the music, beyond the good food you are served on the plane, know for sure that there is much.
Part 5.
Part 5, okay. wait for part 5. Okay, we'll take a break now very quickly. When we return from the break, Gabriel Kuma will be on set. Let's look at the Senate and issues that bother us on constitution review and some of the controversies coming out from that, that exercise after this break.
As you wake up in the morning, the first thing in the mind is knowing what is going on around you.
Following get an up-to-date analysis on issues and governance,